Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. Today, we're going to be discussing some popular fan theories pertaining to none other than Hermione Granger. I'm going to discuss 5 theories in total, starting with the worst and working towards the best. I'll be kicking things off with a completely terrible theory and progressively working my way towards what I feel is the best one. If you enjoyed this type of video, let me know by liking the video and leaving a comment. I've got 5 more Hermione theories ready to go, and I can also do it for other characters. Anyway, let's get started. 5. Hermione is Harry's sister. Yes, you heard that correctly. This popular Harry Potter fan theory suggests that the boy who lived, Harry Potter, is in fact related to Hermione Jean Granger. I think we can blame George Lucas and the relation between Luke and Leia for this one. This is a messed up theory for many reasons, and it's completely logical, but let me entertain you with just a few of the main arguments for why and how these two may be related. The original theorist kicks things off by pointing out that Hermione's behavior with Harry is very sister-like, and that there is something unique about their friendship in an unromantic way. This point seems far too vague and provides zero evidence that the pair are related. Having a feeling that there is something unique about a relationship isn't supporting evidence for a theory. The next point made is that Hermione knew a lot about Harry before arriving at Hogwarts. Again, this piece of evidence isn't really significant at all. Harry was famous, his name was everywhere, and Hermione is the type of person to read up on things. Of course she knew about Harry. Everyone did. Next, the point is made that J.K. Rowling has a tendency to describe physical resemblances between relatives in Harry Potter, but that Hermione was never described as resembling her family. This is one of the weakest arguments for this theory so far. There are many other arguments more or less on the same level as the ones noted above that support, I use that very loosely here, this theory. However, it seems as though the main supporting claim this theory boasts is that Lily and James may have had a secret child that they put up for adoption, Hermione. This is one of the worst theories I've heard, particularly as J.K. Rowling has admitted that she felt as though Harry and Hermione should have ended up together. 4. Hermione was homeless. In the trio's last few years of school, the threat that was Voldemort and the Death Eaters seemed to be getting nearer and nearer, closer to home each and every day. The wizarding world was on edge, and people were beginning to prepare for the worst, a fully fledged return of Voldemort and a takeover of the wizarding world. However, Voldemort's return didn't just mean bad news for the wizarding community, it also, unbeknownst to them, posed a significant threat to Muggles and the Muggle world. Cue Hermione and her parents. Knowing that the danger would eventually stretch beyond the confines of the wizarding world, Hermione Granger knew that she would have to make a difficult choice. She would have to decide whether or not she would wipe her parents' memories. Given that Hermione was a prominent figure in the fight against Voldemort, it made her a target, and by extension, her parents. This prompted her to take action, with Hermione eventually erasing her parents' memories. After wiping their memories, Hermione didn't return home until the threat that was Voldemort had been eliminated, which meant that close to a year went by before she eventually returned home. She was homeless. One dark Potter theory suggests that Hermione was actually homeless for a lot longer than 1 year, wiping her parents' memories several years before 1997. This theory is supported by the fact that Hermione was always with either Harry or Ron during vacations. She spent her entire summers at either Grimmauld Place or the Burrow, not spending any time with her parents at all. After seeing writing on the wall that Voldemort was coming back, Hermione freaked out and, hoping to keep her parents as safe as possible, wiped their memories years before we had previously thought. Hermione is a smart girl, so acting in advance like this does make sense, but I'm not sure I totally buy it. 3. Hermione's academic excellence. Now, it should come as no surprise when I tell you that Hermione is highly intelligent. In fact, in one of my videos where I rank the 10 most intelligent characters, I put Hermione at number 2. While studying, Hermione Granger was one of the most talented witches of her entire year, and the entire school for that matter. In fact, Hermione may have been one of the most studious and brightest witches to have ever graced Hogwarts. She began attending Hogwarts at the same time as Harry, Ron, and given her affinity for learning and knowledge, it's no surprise that she became a talented witch. She had a thirst for knowledge, and, through her dangerous adventures with Harry and Ron, became ready for anything and everything that came her way. She was well-rounded, competent, and a quick thinker, able to think critically under all kinds of pressure. Not only was she studious, she was just naturally very intelligent. Things came easily to her, and her inquisitive nature only meant that she stockpiled all manners of information. Okay, so Hermione is smart. What's the theory? The theory in question suggests that Hermione's excellence can be attributed to the addition of her Muggle education prior to attending Hogwarts. In one of my older videos, I discuss all of the subjects taught at Hogwarts, 21 to be exact, and one thing that you may or may not know is that many basic foundational skills taught in Muggle school are excluded. Hermione, however, went to Muggle school and learned these excluded topics prior to her attending Hogwarts. Yes, some other students received a Muggle education as well, but the theory boasts that Hermione's innate intelligence, paired with the rich foundational knowledge of core subjects, gave her the edge needed to become the brightest witch of her age. Compare that to Ron, who can't spell for toffee, and this totally reasonable theory completely checks out. 2. Hermione's true bloodline. As far as we know, Hermione Granger was a Muggle-born witch born in 1979 to Muggle parents Mr. and Mrs. Granger. According to canon, Hermione didn't realize that she was in fact a witch until she received her Hogwarts letter at the age of 11. Furthermore, Hermione was the first magical person in her family, and went on to have 2 half-blood children with Ron Weasley. Blood status is one of the most controversial aspects of the wizarding world, a concept in which wizarding families can be distinguished by the level of magically endowed family members. Generally speaking, people are slotted into one of the following categories: pureblood, half-blood, or muggle, with the special term muggle-born referring to a witch or wizard with 2 non-magical parents. Hermione is a muggle through and through. This theory, however, is about to bust that wide open. In the 6th Harry Potter, Professor Horace Slughorn asks Hermione if she is related to a certain Hector Dagworth Granger, to which she responds that she doesn't think so because she is a muggle-born. So who was Hector Dagworth Granger? Why, a wizard of course, a British one that founded the most extraordinary society of potioneers. This leaves one big question. Is it just a coincidence that he shared a name with Hermione? Is it impossible for them to be related? The theory in question suggests that Hector was one of Hermione's ancestors, and that there have been a long line of squibs, non-magical wizards born to at least one magical parent, in the Granger family tree. This would explain Hermione's parents visiting Diagon Alley, and might also explain the connection to Hector Dagworth Granger. An intellectually impressive ancestor does seem about right for Hermione. This one's a bit of a stretch, but the theory is sound, and I do quite enjoy it. 1. Hermione's time crunch. Before we get into this one, let me explain time turners. Time turners are magical devices manufactured by the Department of Mysteries used for time travel. A typical time turner is operated by turning an hourglass, which directly corresponds to the number of hours that you can travel back in time. Traditional time turners are limited in that you are only able to travel back a maximum of 5 hours. In the 1993 school year, McGonagall gifts the time turner to Hermione so that she's able to attend additional classes. Hermione's immense workload finally seemed to be getting to her. Every night, without fail, Hermione was to be seen in the corner of the common room, several tables spread with books, arithmancy charts, rune dictionaries, diagrams of muggles lifting heavy objects, and file upon file of extensive notes. She barely spoke to anybody and snapped when she was interrupted. But did McGonagall really gift Hermione the time turner, or was it acquired another way? This theory challenges that. Though not particularly developed, this theory is quite an interesting one, and entirely plausible at that. It suggests that, rather than being given a time turner by McGonagall, Hermione stole the time turner from the Department of Mysteries with Dumbledore's help. The main support behind this theory is that in the Order of the Phoenix, When the trio visit the Department of Mysteries, Hermione seemed to already know certain things about the department, things that would require being there before. This might also better explain why a student was entrusted with a temporal manipulation device. And that's it for this video. What do you guys think? Had you heard of these theories before? Do you want 5 more of these on Hermione? Another character? Leave a comment down below and don't forget to like, subscribe to support future content. Until next time, remember, awful things happen to wizards who've meddled with time.